What made you recognize who you are out of all your family members? What brought you out the matrix out of all your family members?
It's a great question. To be honest, it's always just been inside of me. And I've noticed that, I guess, the self-awareness part, I would observe and see how they respond and they will react, and that just didn't sit right with me.
Right.
And it didn't sit right with me to just be quiet and to just let that be okay if I really didn't feel okay with it. You know what I mean? So I feel like I just was. It's just been in me. You know what I mean? It's like, you know that saying that they say like, if it ain't in you, it ain't in you. You know, you ain't got it, you ain't got it.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you got it, you got it.
Right.
And I feel like that's what I'm here for.
Right.
I've been, I don't know how to say, like, designed or divinely orchestrated purposely for now, you know what I mean, to demonstrate what it's like to be a self-aware being. You know what I mean? Us melanated beings, we are the first self-aware beings.
First ones.
We are the original beings, and the original beings are aware of their being, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Because they must be, so they can be able to so they can be able to
lay the blueprint.
lay the blueprint of their purpose. You know what I mean? It's like the divine not gonna make us and create us and not give us no direction. You know, they're not gonna give us no blueprint, you know, and just let us to be out here wandering around, not knowing who we are.
Right.
You know, because we have instructions, we have things that we're supposed to be doing and tending to the land, tending to all living things, creating life. How would you be able to do that and create life if you don't know who you are? You don't even know what you're supposed to create. So it's important and imperative for us to be self-aware of who we are, so we can be able to have that solid foundation of what it is that we need to create.
Yeah, that's true.
And I feel like, I guess what activated that was the children. To be honest, the children brought it to my awareness that I'm not living for myself. I didn't love myself, and I didn't care about myself, and I wasn't self-aware for myself because I didn't have that demonstrated to me. You know what I mean? Until I had children, so I firsthand had to see, the divine gave me the vision to see that, like, yo, you know what I mean? I'm not just living for myself. I will be selfish to just not love myself and not care for myself. You know what I mean? And there's little beings that's looking at me to demonstrate and learn from me, and I don't have anything to offer them in that manner, you know what I mean? Because I'm not offering that to myself. I don't even know what it is to love myself, to respect myself, to care for myself.
This gave me a song idea name, another one.
What's that idea?
We're gonna call it Soul Food.
Soul Food. Oh, I know. That's the one. That's the one. What was the other one you said it's called?
It was an acronym. Self-inflicted sin, self-inflicted negativity.
Self-inflicted negativity.
Yeah.
And I feel like that goes with, you know what I mean, the perspective of death culture.
Right.
Everything that permeates now in this reality is a reflection of death culture. A culture, confirmation, a culture that self-sabotages itself and thinks that that's normal. Right. That's like the thing to do. And then they try to give you the sense, he do it and she do it, then that
don't make it right.
That I must be doing something right.
Right.
But no, your body, your whole being is talking to you.
Right.
You know, our bodies as divine vessels, is divine intelligence that communicates to us. It picks up on these signals telepathically. You know what I mean? It's able to feel these sensations as feeling beings, interconnected to, everything, all that is. We can feel and sense when something is off. We can feel and sense when, no, that don't feel right. Or like, oh, that felt like danger that's going to be dangerous. You know what I mean? Like,
this is the 21st century, right?
yes.
I think the biggest mind bomb of the 21st century in the conscious community is people figuring out that we actually have superpowers and that we've been indoctrinated to not be able to tap into it.
And you know why that is?
I don't know. I mean, well,
because we don't know who we are. They stripped away they stripped away the knowledge of self.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
yes.
They took away from us the knowing of who we are.
Right.
If we don't know who we are, then how will we know? How will we believe? How could we even how can we even think that? How can we even accept that as a reality for ourselves?
Right.
If who we truly are has been stripped away from us, we don't have any trace. We like in the mass media,
Right.
there's no source that traces us directly back to our roots, except for nature.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you pay attention to nature, shows us who we are.
Right.
You know what I mean? A direct source link. You go sit in nature, the trees will tell
Trees
you.
will, trust me, I know.
You know what I mean? So it's like, the plan was to strip away our history. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To take away confirmation again, to take away from us, our past.
Yeah.
If we don't know where we came from, we don't know our roots.
Like a tree without roots, Marcus Garvey.
And then we don't know what kind of tree are we? You know what I mean? What is even a tree?
Yeah.
What is a tree?
Right.
Like, never heard of that. You know what I mean? And then somebody will say, oh, you're a vine.
Yeah.
And you start believing that, then you start making babies, and you tell your babies be like, oh, what am I? Oh, you're a vine.
Right.
And then you create lineages of that, of misconception, of separation from who you truly are.
Mm-hmm.
Then how could you possibly believe that you are from royalty? You know what I mean? That you are a cosmic being.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That you are beyond. You are not of this world.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're in it, but you're not of this world. You can't believe those things, or you can't have faith in that because you're not rooted in that truth.
Right. You legit have superpowers.
Yes.
That's why the movies, and I was just saying to my friend, Hollywood, I mean, they're able to downplay everything because they're able to fictionalize it. But I was saying to my friend, no new thoughts can exist. Everything is already existing in the universe. So whatever we think we created, we didn't create. We just downloaded the thought from the universe. And what was my point here? It's that if Hollywood is depicting something, it's not because they're able to create the thought out of thin air. They experience it.
They're getting it from somewhere.
You feel me?
They're making these movies off of some truth.
Off of some truth. You feel me? If there's giants in the movie, they didn't just create that shit in their head. They somehow experienced it.
It gotta be from somewhere.
You feel me? If there's people with superpowers, they might dramatize it a little bit.
Yeah.
You feel me? But there's a point of reference from somewhere. You feel me?
We are
the point of reference.
We are super beings. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like we are beyond what we know that we are.
Mm-hmm.
And the more that we live a life disconnected from our roots and not knowing who we are, that's why nationality is important.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it helps you trace your roots, trace you back to your roots. Sankofa. You know what I mean? Yeah. Sankofa is important. Like, y'all don't know what Sankofa is, look it up. You know what I mean?
Looking back at you.
Yes, it's like, you're able to see where you came from, so you know where you're going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or you can have a clear direction of where you can go.
You seen the movie?
Which one?
Sankofa?
No, I didn't see the movie.
Get that movie to you. It's a good movie.
I need to watch it though. I live it though. I live it. I live it every day.
I already know it.
But I definitely I love to watch films like that does.
It was about this lady, this melanated woman. And
really?
She was very Eurocentric.
Interesting.
I think she was like doing a photo shoot at the point of no return, the door of no return, like the slave loading dock or whatever in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And some like native or something like that was like trying to tell her who she was, and she was like, "Oh, I'm not African. I'm not this. I'm not that. I'm this. You feel me? I'm this white. I'm this black European type shit." You feel me?
Right.
But he was like, "No, that's not you." And he put her into like he cast like a spell and put her into sleep, but he didn't really put her. He just like thought
it's like
that
the opposite. It's like he woke her up.
He woke her up, right. But in the movie,
subconscious.
Subconscious.
He activated her soul.
Exactly. He
activated her melanin.
Exactly. She tapped into her DNA.
That's what that is. Oh my god.
And it woke her up, and then when she came out of it, she was like, "Oh, I'm the photographer she was with, which was a white guy." She was like, "Oh, we're done. We're done here.
You see,
done here.
And people think that just because they got the skin complexion,
right.
You know what I mean? They think that, you know what I mean? Oh, I'm melanated, so I could do this and do. You need to be activated.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You have to activate your melanin.
Mm-hmm.
It comes with responsibility.
Yes, it does.
And that's why the responsibility of self-awareness, because once you've become self-aware, now you know that anything that you say and you do and what you demonstrate, you can be held accountable for it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
that's why in the movies, like when people gain powers, they have to learn how to use them, because if they start using them recklessly, then they'll destroy everything in their path.
Exactly.
You know?
And that's something that I had to learn, was the more powerful that I became, the more dangerous the world became to me.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So that means I have to even more so protect myself and armor myself up in knowledge of thyself, knowing who I am, you know what I mean, and acting in that light.
Right.
Not just knowing who I am, but taking it as affirmative action in walking in that light of knowing thyself. You know what I mean? So I feel like, my children help me to activate my melanin in a way where they start the ball going of me starting to think beyond myself.
Right.
And I feel like it more so leads us to being mature beings, maturing in the awareness of who we are to create a life of intentional living.
Right.
You know what I mean? On purpose. Everybody living in purpose because they on purpose.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I feel like melanated beings, like we kind of lack the responsibility of the power. And we think like, okay, since I'm melanated, okay, I got the card already. I'm already in the game.
Right.
No, you need to act as if. You know what I mean?
Right.
You need to demonstrate. You know what I mean? Just because you yes, you have the melanin, so you got it for a reason. So that means that you are a self-aware being, and you need to demonstrate that. Because whoever else that's looking at you and that is here to learn from you, you know what I mean? You're teaching them what's acceptable and what's unacceptable.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're setting the tone and the standards. And it's not to say that you're greater than or less than. I'm not saying that melanin people are greater than or less than anybody or anything.
Right.
What I'm saying is it serves a divine purpose to set divine law and order. And you must be self-aware to be able to set that structure and that dynamic of law and order that is above and beyond who you are personally.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. So it's like that's a big divine responsibility. And a lot of people don't like to hold that responsibility.
Right.
But it's not an option. It's really not an option because you're created this way. You know what I mean? So the more that you try to avoid walking in that light, the more that you are agreeing to sin, like how you said, you know what I mean? Exactly. And what's sin again? What's the acronym again you said?
Self-inflicted negativity.
Self-inflicted negativity. You'll be walking around feeling a void, you know what I mean? Yeah. Feeling discontent, feeling incomplete, feeling like you're not in purpose, because your purpose is to be self-aware and to set that standard of self-awareness by demonstrating that.
orchestrated, right?
Because everybody is watching.
Yeah.
Everything is watching.
Yeah.
And if we got the blueprint, it's our responsibility to activate that and to walk in that light.
And exactly to this point, I want to insert is that they, like you said, they tried to strip us of knowledge of self, which has left us in confusion.
Right.
But they're stupid for working against nature, because no matter how much stripping they try to do, the information and knowledge and the instructions are coded in our genes, our DNA. The instructions are permanently coded in us. You feel me?
Yes.
And all we have the way it's activated is learning from nature.
Yes.
And that's how it's activated. But
getting back connected.
Exactly. But
connecting back to nature.
Connecting back to nature.
Our true nature.
Our true nature. You feel me?
Connecting back to nature. Exactly.
Being in nature.
Being in nature and connecting to nature activates our true nature.
Our true nature. And it was something I was saying to my cousin. Like, we live in a concrete jungle, but when it comes to like real natural law and everything, we're actually like technically animals, right?
Yeah.
But we're not in nature in this concrete jungle. So we're disconnected from nature because we're around all these. I mean, everything on this earth is a derivative of nature. You feel me?
It's
but
true.
If it's processed and man, like, you feel me, it's been processed by man. You feel me? The components of it and the chemical structure
it's
and
blocked.
the chemistry is right blocked and altered for the negative, and that disconnects us from nature.
It's blocked and it's altered for the negative because now we can't see directly
right.
who we are.
Exactly.
We can, there's a middleman.
Right, exactly.
That's blocking the light.
But then as soon as we figure out who the middleman is and we realize who the teacher is, which is nature, then the middleman is so irrelevant, because then nature is literally all around us.
Because we know that and then we are able to know that we're abundant,
right.
that we have everything we need all around us, and
right.
we don't need the middleman
right.
to supply dreams
right.
and protection when nature already protects us and gives us everything that we need.
Exactly. And just like what, if you take an animal and put it and you make it like a real animal from the real nature, who's just not meant to be in the concrete jungle.
Right.
If you put them in this environment, they're not going to do it. Because this is not their nature. This is not where they're meant to be.
Yeah.
Just like us, we're not meant to be crowded into these human farms. You feel
right.
me? These concrete jungles.
But we're adaptable.
We're adaptable.
So we kind of like settle.
Right.
We can settle and then we can survive,
right.
but we're not going to thrive.
We're not going to thrive. And like Kemet, which was like one of the first super cities, we still had elements of nature all around. The pyramid was, you feel me? It was a harvester of energy in some form and fashion, which
right.
was redistributed amongst the people. You feel me? These cities, and for example, Kemet and the pyramids were harvesting energy and redistributing it amongst the people, therefore empowering the people. But
ciphering the energy
exactly.
exchange.
But if you go look downtown, those buildings are buildings of thieves, central bankers who are enslaving people, and they're extracting the wealth from
exactly.
They're not replenishing.
Exactly.
That's why the biggest buildings in the city are always banks.
So in the past, it was more so having a cipher of fluid energy exchange,
right.
And that's how our energy works.
Right, exactly.
This is how our energy cycles. It cycles like this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a turning wheel.
Yeah.
But they reversed it and made everything backwards so they can cipher and farm our energy.
Yeah.
Like how you saying.
Right. They harvesting our energy on some real stuff. And the problem, one of the things I tell people, like, it's not like we're not facing repercussions by not using gold and silver anymore, because they took the gold and silver away. Now we're using paper money, but we used to use gold and silver. And something I learned from like really looking into the minerals that sea moss has is, gold and silver is a part of our biological makeup. Every human being has gold and silver in them.
Right.
And if you feel me, gold and silver is a conductor of energy. So
right.
if that's what's used in commerce, then that's like one of the best ways to store your value in it, because it's a conductor of energy that's growing. You feel me?
And energy is currency.
It's currency. You feel me? But now we're actually using fiat currency, which is pure valueless paper. You feel me? And it's ways to, you feel me, we can do well with it.
But you see how they still trying to cipher the trees.
Right, exactly.
It's still a form of nature,
right.
But it's like
process.
A process,
Right.
yeah. Wow.
It's refined.
It's a refined.
Refined.
Wow. And then they go get the direct source and give us give us like the middleman
And they
version.
make us pay for it.
And pay for it.
Pay for something. Capitalism is all about making you pay for something that nature gave you for free.
And if you don't know who you are, you're going to try to pay for your value.
Yeah.
You're gonna try to pay attention to other things that's not supplying your wellness.
Mm-hmm.
It's not giving back to you. So that's why it's these certain things on social media and stuff like that they cipher your energy from all this drama and all this type of low energy stuff. You know what I mean? You pay attention to that, your energy goes where your attention flows.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if you don't know who you are, you're gonna just pay attention to anything because you're not gonna know the value of your currency.
Exactly. 100%.
So on that note, I appreciate each and every one of y'all that's gonna be tuning into this.
Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all. Much love.
Thank you for showing up for yourself today. You know what I mean? And what you think this podcast is gonna be the name?
I don't know. I think we should marinate on it. You feel me? Let it sit in.
What was the main what we started off talking about?
Coming out, exiting the matrix and some.
Yeah, what activated you, or how'd you know? You said something about like, how did I know?
DNA activation, or
it was DNA activation.
I mean,
but
I asked you how what out of all your family members, what was responsible for taking you out of the matrix out of all your family members?
So I feel like for me it was the children, and I feel like that is symbolic for the seeds.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So the seeds brought me back to my inner child, back to the root. It's root work. We must be able to take it back to the root to know who we are. Not more so, nationality helps us to have that thought process, to think that way. But it's more in the energetic makeup.
Right.
You know what I mean? In our energetic makeup, our biochemistry of who we are to know who we are.
Mm-hmm.
We tap into the energy and we can feel who we are.
Yes, indeed. Let's go.
Ashayo, I love you. Look, two.
So let's go.
Good. Ashay. All right, Venus Sublime, y'all.
Siah.ghd. We out of here.
All right, peace, love, and light, and integrated darkness.